Despite the fact that many car owners anticipate replacing brake and suspension parts as a result of such wear and tear, the effective service life of many other parts is frequently disregarded until they become the root of serious problems. Drivers in some situations hardly ever even consider the existence of such components. The clock spring is one very significant yet frequently disregarded component. The function of electronic devices, which would not be possible without this crucial component, is made possible thanks in large part to it. In a similar vein, a car's clock spring, when in the midst of failure, can present a number of serious problems. In this video we will tell you about the vehicle's clock spring, as well as the numerous symptoms associated with its failure. It's the Car Problems YouTube channel. Subscribe and let's get started. What is a clock spring? The operation of various electronic automotive accessories is facilitated by a clock spring and is controlled by a non-stationary controller. To put it simply, a clock spring expands and contracts as necessary to accommodate a non-stationary circuit. The modern automobile steering wheel is the current example of how this is used. The clock spring of a car is situated between the steering column and the wheel. Despite the steering wheel's constant movement, this enables a number of steering wheel-controlled functions to function as intended. The horn, radio controls with push buttons, and cruise control are some of the most notable of these features. The clock spring also provides power to a car's driver's side airbag. Symptoms of a bad clock spring. Here are 5 of the most popular symptoms of bad or broken clock spring. Inoperable steering wheel buttons. The steering wheel-mounted controls on a car will frequently stop working when the clock spring breaks. This frequently involves some radio and cruise control features. This lack of functionality is caused by the actual wires that supply ground and power to each of these functions being disconnected. Regrettably, replacing the clock spring is the only way to make the device operational again. Lack of horn function. In the event of clock spring damage, a driver may also discover that their horn is not working. This is caused by the horn's power source being cut off. This can be quite dangerous and needs to be identified and fixed right away. Until the broken clock spring is changed or fixed, the horn won't work. Miscellaneous warning lights. One or more warning lights on a car's dashboard suddenly turning on is another common sign of a broken or malfunctioning clock spring. The airbag light, which denotes a problem with the airbag circuit itself, is one of these lights that is most frequently seen. The traction control or electronic throttle warning lights of a vehicle may also be on. Unusual steering wheel noise. There are times when a broken clock spring will also make a rubbing or grinding noise. This noise is the result of unintended friction within the steering column of a vehicle, which is brought on by one or more clock spring-related parts that are out of alignment. These parts drag across one another in ways that would not otherwise be possible as the steering wheel is turned. Blown fuses. Another potential effect of a broken clock spring is the sudden blowing of one or more fuses connected to various steering wheel-controlled functions. When live circuit wires are left unattended, they can arc off of grounded surfaces. As a result, each of these circuits' corresponding fuses blow as a matter of circuit protection. What causes a clock spring failure? The usual wear and tear of a car is typically blamed for the clock spring's failure. This results from the ribbon of wires in a clock spring moving with each turn of a car's steering wheel. Wear continues to increase until a failure eventually takes place. Anytime a vehicle's steering linkage is severed, clock spring failure can also happen as a result of the steering wheel over-rotating. Simply put, the turning radius of a vehicle's wheels usually imposes a restriction on the steering wheel's ability to rotate. However, this restriction is removed when a vehicle's steering linkage is disconnected, allowing the steering wheel to turn indefinitely. The clock spring will be harmed if a steering wheel is turned more frequently than its clock spring permits. To fully restore electrical functionality, the clock spring will need to be replaced. Can you drive with this problem? It is not recommended to operate a vehicle with a broken clock spring. This results from the fact that a few crucial vehicle safety functions receive power and ground from this device. These include an automobile's airbag and horn. Clock spring replacement cost. The replacement typically costs between $200 and $750. Even though this is a fairly wide price range, the labor required for a repair of this nature varies greatly from one model of vehicle to the next. Sometimes replacing a clock spring requires more work than usual, which raises the cost of labor. Can you replace a clock spring on your own? You can save money by replacing the clock spring on your own and avoiding high labor costs. But this is also a repair that calls for a certain level of mechanical know-how. The steering wheel and airbag assembly of a vehicle must be taken off for clock spring replacement. This can be difficult and frequently calls for the use of specialized tools, like a steering wheel puller. In any case, only attempt such repairs if you feel confident doing them. If this isn't the case in your specific situation, make an appointment as soon as possible with a reputable auto repair shop.